So okay. So what I would say is like, man, I wish that shit was recording,
That
bro.
would have been fucking epic if it was recording.
It,
Damn.
it was, man. I thought that shit was fucking recording, bro. But I mean, we can redo it, but. Oh yeah, it's recording now. But man, we can start over. I don't give a fuck. But right now, I do want to say this though. I want to say like in response to what you were saying, it's like cause like you were saying some good ass shit. Cause it does make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I will admit it makes sense.
Thank you. I
But
appreciate that.
right. But at the same time, okay, if you're taking these people, okay, if you're saying we start from slavery, we're a different type of African, okay, us in America at least, we have a different type of experience, right? So that's like a hybrid person, and when that person finally comes to, excuse me, do themselves properly and get out of this survival type mindset, we would have to wonder what was our origins. Would we start our origins on a slave ship, bro? Or will we start our origins further preceding those slave ships?
And that's what it comes down to. The truth of the matter is our history as Black Americans starts with the slave ships. I know that might be hard to admit, but it shouldn't be. Here's the truth of the matter: is we know for a fact it can be historically stated that Africans sold other Africans into slavery.
That's not necessarily exactly what happened, because I want to ask you, brother. At one time, if the continent of Africa had every resource that the continent, at any of those continents, Europe, America, any of those needed, if they had all the resources that those people needed, what did you really have to trade Africa for these motherfucking slaves?
Now look, I admit.
Was it gold?
Now look, I know that's what I'm saying. Like I admit, there is a possibility that there might be some distortion to history. However, I am not so naive as to believe that there could not have been some maybe conniving on the part of the people trying to convince them.
Right.
But we know that the people themselves, the slavers themselves, had information recorded, documented as trading with others. It was a known practice back then. That's what they were doing.
Okay, but see, even then, like you could still not be able to say that these African people knew that thousands of miles away that these people were practicing chattel slavery when they had a slavery that was indentured servitude.
And you're exactly right.
Right.
You're exactly right. I agree with you entirely 100%. And that is why, for that exact reason, our history is different. Right. That is why our origin does not exist with that.
I'm not denying our history is different.
No, hold on.
But you're talking about our biology. I'm speaking about our biology, though.
You understand what happened to our biology when we came here to America, right?
Right. It was.
Do you understand why
we were bred? But okay, so going back to your point, to the Native American stuff. Let me first address this real quick. So the original Native Americans, the people who were indigenous to America, they were Africans who traveled through the Bering Strait. Okay, so we know these people to be African people who migrated to the North Americas after the Ice Age.
However, because of that geological event, it is unfair, and I repeat, and I will attest to this adamantly. It is unfair to call them Native Africans after such a large amount of history has passed. The reason being, and let me explain myself. The reason being, due to the geological differences in America versus Africa, the people themselves, just due to the way nature works and the amount of time that passed between the times of slavery and the time that everything was connected, they would have changed both physiologically and biologically due to the conditions that existed. So you could not call them the same native people with any real fairness. We know that.
But okay. Now I definitely agree with what you're saying. The only thing I would have to ask you, brother, is this: if these people aren't these people entitled to be able to trace their origins? And if they were to do that, then what would they have to relate as their origins?
Well, here's my reason why I'm against that.
Okay.
Black Americans in their own country, in my country, in the country that we live in, are constantly exposed to the most prejudice.
Right.
And considering every other place in the world during World War II, it was known that many African Americans currently in the military decided not to go back home because the French were a lot more appreciative of them over there.
That's the best.
Hey, can I get that charger?
Today's gonna be my day.
Currently, in 2016, if I were to go back to Africa, if you were to go back to Africa, we would meet a number of Africans who would be more than happy to welcome us back there.
Right.
But then, at the same time, we would meet more than that number who would be more than happy to tell us to go our happy ass back home. Because, as a whole, as a continent, as a people, they do not consider us to be the same as them. Now that may be a broad spectrum and broad strokes, but that is really
I see
what
what
we're
you're saying,
considering when it comes down to deciding where our origin starts. And who are the people who would accept us?